Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Tough, and I have my good friend Jack from Rerolling Ones fame.
Hey, what's
And
up?
we decided to do a very impromptu wire reforging because we're both painting a lot of stuff, and we can. That's the power of the internet. So,
Do what we want. We're growing.
so we have a few things around topic. Talk about like hobby progress, things we've been working on, as usual. I'm probably going to hold off on listener questions unless you really want to, Jack, just because I have a bunch of them.
I'd love to help out as long as they're not like, what would you do if you were stranded on Akshi, but you only had 30 days to live? But
that's right.
Your mother-in-law was there also. Those what
if you
questions.
were a bear cyborg, what would your superpower be?
I'm not a huge fan of the what if, like what would you do questions, because a lot of it is just like they want to tell you their answer. And so they phrase it in a question just so they can tell you what they think. But it's just like, I just don't think like that. It's like, I've noticed getting into the age of Sigmar, especially YouTube community, there's a huge, just currency in predicting stuff. Like, oh, predict this. And I'm more of a, I'll wait and then I'll see what they say when it comes out. I'm patient. I guess I'm patient like that. I can guess, but I'm like, there's a huge, people really want to know the predictions about stuff. And I'm more of a, I'll see when it comes.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay, right on. I don't think we get a whole lot of those, so I'll read ahead and filter through. Let's see. So starting off with, I always start off with hobby progress so people know what we're working on while we're doing this. Obviously, you weren't here last time to tell us about your progress, but what you've been working on?
I have been working on corn stuff for the channel. Like, here is a bunch of blood letters that Mark from Rerolling One, he was so kind to paint for me. We kind of traded models, and he painted stuff for me, and I give him models because I have a problem with buying stuff. And I've been basing them. I've been working on these blood reavers with the two-handed weapons.
Okay.
And we're going to do an announcement this week, but we're going to do a slow grow campaign that, any of your listeners are welcome to join us on the Rerolling One Facebook group. And so it's going to be 500 points every month, starting in the month of September. So I have a bunch, I don't know if you can see in that back corner, a bunch of flesh eater quartz.
Oh, and nice.
I did this test model that I'll hold up to the thing. I'm not sure if you can see it or not. It's just a ghoul, but they're from Olgu, so they're very shadowy and so very dark. And the loincloths are purple. And when you get close, it's kind of nice. But just this whole, shadowy flesh eater quartz thing that's what I'm going for. So, and I know you're gonna do Iron Jaws.
Yes,
you should be done. You're such a fast painter, and I might say like to give you a compliment. You're a good painter, but as you've put it, you're an army painter. But man, these fire slayers that I got for you, I love them. You are definitely. I feel like you've leveled up as far as painting. And so very good stuff.
I appreciate that. Yeah, they were fun to paint, and then all of a sudden you hit your limit, and you're like, I don't want to paint the same model anymore. Which, I mean, everyone in the Facebook group is super cool about, because they're all like, yeah.
It took me a while to get that, because I wasn't used to how you are. Brent and Mark have known you for a while. And, I only have I've known you a year now.
Yep, just about.
We can go over how we met. It was a funny story. And so seeing you get rid of armies, and it's just like me, I'm like a hoarder when it comes to, I still have my stuff from when I started when I was 9 years old. And so it's like, and when you paint an army, paint it to completion where it looks good, and then you're like, not into it anymore, trade it for a new army that's unpainted, and then paint that army, and you're like, okay, now for a new one. And it's just, I've heard you describe it, you're project oriented, and it just, I didn't understand it. And then, that's just a trait you have. And if you're good with it, I'm good with it. And I realized it was my problem that I had. And it's like, oh, but I'm glad I got your fire slayers.
Yeah. If you have to benefit from it.
Yes. But it's like, I'm still sad that your Zinch army was never on the channel, because it was good looking. And
was it never on the channel at all?
Never on the channel. You painted it up, and then you got rid of it after you destroyed the flesh eater quartz I had unpainted.
Okay, but in fairness, I hurt a lot of people with that.
Yeah.
I destroyed a lot of things with that. Okay. Right on. So I'm gonna awkwardly tilt the camera down like I always do, so we can see what we're painting here.
Oh, no problem.
As is tradition, to give everyone nausea.
I'm just trying to put out that we are live on your channel, so maybe we'll get another listener or two chat with us.
Let's see here. There we go. And so for me, obviously, Jack mentioned it. I've been working on Iron Jaws. Got them for the Fire Slayers, and kind of been whole hog on these guys. And I to put Jack was just complimenting me on my army painting skills, and then I hit these guys, and it's been a huge roadblock for quite a while. I've been painting this big block of 30 hard boys, which is just a mistake from the beginning. Don't paint in increments of 30 batch paint.
Mm-hmm. But yes. I've noticed that 10 is the spot where you should stop. I did 20 once. I couldn't imagine doing 30.
But basically, I was like, I had the vision. I was like, I want them to be blue, and so I looked at the tutorial for blue on the Citadel app. Went out and I bought the McCrag blue spray, and I was like super pumped because I never used the GW spray before. And these last several days, I feel bad for all of our re-rolling friends because I've been blasting them with like, this doesn't look right, and I don't like it, and these look terrible. And I was so excited for this army, and it's just not looking good. And come to find out through like a weird message board that like some of the Citadel sprays are not the same tone or color as the actual like paint pots.
Mm-hmm.
So the instructions that you get from the Citadel paint app don't match necessarily if you're using the spray. And so that's what was happening is I was doing the right colors, but because I based it with McCrag blue, which was my can specifically was like 2 or 3 shades too bright.
Mm-hmm.
And since I never used McCrag blue, I didn't know that. And so I had no features, no shadows, nothing like that. I'm like, but I'm following tutorials and it's just not looking right. And so actually about 25 minutes before the show, I rushed home after realizing that some guy had said that online. And so painted up a new test one, going a little bit brighter. And I think it looks pretty good. So that is the plan.
I really like the one in the upper left-hand corner where he's orange. Is that what you're going with? It looks really good.
Yeah, so that's my test one. I was going to put it in the group later. So compared to, so I got to brush my mouth. I know this, my little stage lights here are not the best, but the one over here is so much darker and it has almost no shadows whatsoever because the McCrag blue is so much brighter as opposed to this guy, which I'll put pictures up on Instagram and things like that. So much better. And I'm testing out, you can't really see, but there are 3 different kinds of orange. And so I was going to put a picture up with like a 1, 2, and 3. Tell me which one you like the most. So you have Wild Rider Red, Troll Slayer, and then the Jakara, which is more the drab orange foundation paint. So yeah. So anyway, I was very frustrated, but now I am happy.
And you haven't done the skin yet, right?
I did skin. It doesn't show up very well, but yeah, it's all done.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm just kind of painting around it, trying to be gentle, not to screw it up. But yeah, I mean the skin too. I just did the GW app, whatever paint app, and came out perfect.
Miami Dolphin Iron Jaws. That's funny. I'm glad that you got used to these because these were just sitting in my closet. Like interesting story how I came across this army. So Age of Sigmar can be unfun if the armies aren't like matched up. For instance, if you play a top tier army versus an army that doesn't have a codex or something like that. And I had a really nasty Stormcast list that I used to play. And the first list the time I played you, and I played somebody who just had the Iron Jaws. He put them together. He was so excited. And I play with 9 long strikes, and this is when the Aether Wing Strike Force was a thing, and so you could shoot with your Azeros or your Aether. The birds were within 12 inches in your hero phase, and as soon as you killed something from the battalion, you could shoot with them. And so I killed Gortrak first turn. I killed a lot of stuff, and it was one of those games where your opponent just doesn't have fun. I brought a really tough list to a casual game, which was, I shouldn't have done that. But this is when I was pretty new, and I was just, okay, I'll bring the stuff I have. And he messaged me. He was like, actually, I don't really like this game. You want to buy this stuff? And I bought a lot of models for like 120, 140 bucks. And it was like, I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to play the game. But that's when I started to realize, like, I play this game to play. I don't play this game to, like, I do tournaments. I've done 3 so far, and those can be fun. But I think the competitive area in the Pacific Northwest isn't like it is on the East Coast, or all these events where the tournaments we've had, I've only seen one Zinch player. It's no really net list, which is nothing wrong with the net list, but it's just a lot of fluff stuff. And like, I was able to win a tournament with Aether Wing Strike Force, and if you look at all the top tournaments, you don't even see that back in first edition. So anyway,
no, totally. And it's a kind of segues, as by way of introduction. When Jack and I first met, he messaged me because he heard that I lived in Seattle, and well, you can tell it. You go for it.
Oh yeah, I was getting into this hobby can be daunting, especially because I stopped playing in like 2004. Whenever the Juan Diaz Slanesh models came out, that's when I stopped playing Warhammer. And me and my brother decided to get back in the game early last year when KO came out. And so that's why I really enjoy like Vince Ventrella, and channels like his really help new players. And of course, 2+ Tough, because you were able to let people know the lore, because I'm curious what happened.
Right.
What happened? Why did the game end? What happened in the end times? I'm just really baffled, and it's a lot to jump into. And then going to your channel really helped me. And one of the times you mentioned a local podcast that did 40K, but they were in Portland. And I was like, oh, he must live in Portland as well. Then I noticed that you lived up here, invited you to a game on Facebook, stomped the crap out of you, and we became friends.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah, I at that point in time, my flavor of the week was also Stormcast.
Yes,
but I had my super fluffy Hallowed Knights army, where I was like, well, this is what they have in the Romegate War books, and you were like, Vanguard Wing Smash.
And you're like, I don't really, I'm not into battalions. And I'm like, well, you need to get into them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know why I ever wasn't. I don't really understand that part of my life.
Well, I think I remember one of the early things you said in one of your videos. I'm just kind of going to fanboy out a little bit.
Go for it.
And you mentioned, like, you're playing with somebody and you just say, hey, are you having fun? And he's like, no. Like, hey, let's go grab a beer.
Yeah.
Because that's why I'm into this game, to have fun. And where it's like, I'd rather take a goofy list than just a destruction list. Like, I guess maybe depending on the situation, but it's like, there are so many ways to play this game. That's why I'm really not into people saying a unit is garbage. Like, I really, like, there's a lot of people who are really like not even going to say math hammer guys, but people who like, this is the best unit. Here's the spreadsheet that says why, and these guys are garbage. Well, if this is garbage, then I'm Oscar the Grouch, because I like garbage units. I have 220 like Blood Reavers in my closet because I like Blood Reavers. I like their story. I like how they have to, when Khorne comes through and attacks their village, they either eat their fellow villagers or die, and that's how you become a Blood Reaver.
And that's like, a cool thing.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. And so, but I realized I was judgy against people who play to win and dominate.
Yeah.
And I just realized that's just not the way I play.
Yeah. No, totally. That's legit.
That rant over.
That's cool. I mean, it ties into our introduction and then certainly our main topic, which is just using models that you like versus models that are just power gaming and stuff like that. So let's dig into have you played any games recently that aren't going to be on the channel?
Yeah, I actually played in a tournament.
Yeah, that's right.
At Terra Crux in Tacoma, and shout out to the guys who put it on and everybody there. It was a lot of fun, and it was interesting. I just put the list together over the weekend. Over the couple days before the weekend, and I just took my my 9 long strikes and the Lord of Quilor, and he can teleport those things around. And with hammers of anvils of Heldenhammer, you can shoot in the hero phase. And so I would get my 9 long strikes. They're not as good as they used to be because you need a unmodified 6 to do 2 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
But I'd shoot in the hero phase, then I'd teleport them away from danger, shoot again, and I was able to go 2-1, and I got second place. So
yeah, that's legit.
Yeah.
How'd they score? Did they do ITC scoring or whatever it is?
I think so. Okay. The winner was actually Iron Jaws. It was a really good player. Yeah, it was, and I'm glad it was one of those things. I'm glad I lost the first game because like it's all about matchups a lot of the time, and I was kind of able to go to the losers bracket and just dominate. And so I was able to get enough major victories and kill points to get second place. Whereas like if I played the guy who won, he had a really mean I think he had 15 Gorgunters or something like that. And just, moving 15 inches in the hero phase and just charging in and, doing all his waws and stuff with his Mighty Lord of Corn.
Yeah.
Mighty Orca Corn or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a mean list, and I'm glad I didn't fight it.
That's legit. Yeah, that's a bet heavy to win heavy list right there. I mean, when it comes to that, you can get the pigs in place to do what you need to do, especially when it comes to like burning objectives and things like that. Woo. But if you don't, you're just a bunch of pigs with terrible. Not terrible damage output, but they're not stellar by any means. So
yeah, they're not the greatest, but they're not too expensive, and they have a lot of wounds.
Exactly.
And I think 1 rend, or no, pigs don't have rend, but the guys on top have rend. So
something like that, yeah. Right on. For me, I played. Let's see. I played a bunch of strange size games because I had the weekend off, and so I went over to MOB games up in Lake Stevens and played a few rounds. One of them was a game against Edith Deepkin. It was the first time I ever actually played Edith Deepkin, or against them, I should say. And I brought my Slaves to Darkness because these guys weren't ready or fully assembled yet, and got my teeth kicked in like the meanest way possible. It's a lot of things when you see it on paper, it doesn't register what things do as far as like always attacking first and there's even just their speed stat of like how quickly they can go to an objective, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was like I think it was like a 1640 point game because it's what the guy had assembled. It was a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun. It was more educational than for me than it was. I guess like a good game in terms of like I got pretty much deleted turn 2. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but yeah, no, that's pretty much it. So
did you have fun?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, it was fun to see them in action. I mean, I fear them in tournaments. I mean, I was talking to him afterwards. I'm like, with my Slaves to Darkness specifically, I was like, I don't think I have a way to mitigate most of what Edith Deepkin does in terms of like, there's magic going off. There's a guy praying in the back to have like a table-wide effect going off. There's eels that can charge and be super aggressive in combat. There's eels that are defensive, and it's like, whoa. So I don't understand enough the faction to like to see how I could have done better, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
sure. But I did have a good time. Like the guy I was playing was super fun, and kind of took the time to explain stuff a little bit. So
that's cool. It's hard to. I couldn't with the stuff. I know the stuff you have for your Slaves of Darkness, and I don't think there's much you could do.
No.
With of course, because you have an army from 2015 versus an army from early 2018. So
yeah, exactly, yeah.
And so it's not really, but it's fun. Hopefully you had fun. You learned some lessons when you beat them with your Iron Jaws.
That's right. That's right. Let's see here. Moving on, got news and new releases. So let me see. I'm going to pull up the news story here and see if there's anything that looks deeply fascinating.
All right. Dead air?
No, I'm just pulling it up right now here. All right. Should be screen sharing now. I think.
Oh.
There we go. So I see a whole bunch of kill team stuff, which I'm interested. I don't think you are.
Yeah, I don't have it in me to get good at two systems or spend money for two systems.
Yeah.
You know, I have demons, and if they have like a Slanesh kill team, I might play that. But especially with the channel, that a lot of the games we play are just for the channel.
Right.
So it's like you don't really find time to play for. I have fun doing the channel, especially like the comedy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm not. It's just it doesn't scratch my itch. For instance, I like Silver Tower. I have a lot of fun. And Mark from Rerolling Ones, he really doesn't like the game. And just you can not be into something, it's fine. They got enough stuff for you.
Totally cool. Okay, well that's the shortest news and announcement section because I thought there was at least like something there. I guess they announced that they previewed the big bull endless spell. What do you think that is going to be for? Wild speculation.
Yeah. Also, I'd like to see what the chat says. My first instinct was Hashut, but I don't know if they make an endless spell for a Forge World army right away when you have so much non-Forge World. And so I know Brent from Rerolling Ones, he was Greyherd. That's what he thinks. Beastman or Warherd or one of those two. So I can see that. But I'm going to stick with Hashut for the Chaos Dwarves. Dark Horse.
A bold choice. Okay. I think whatever the next endless spell they preview is going to be the decider. Like if it's another animal, I'm like, oh yeah, Brayherd, like without question. If it's, I don't know.
I wonder if they would use one endless spell for two different armies. Like you paint it different, or just it can be an army like has two different endless spells. For instance, like a faction that shares endless spells. Maybe I don't know. It's a reach.
It'd be cool for them to play around that mechanic a little bit, though. Like this one thing links the two.
Yeah, I know Vince has mentioned it about an army being from two different orders. Like it can be order or chaos, or destruction or chaos. I would really like to see that. Like I think he calls it the gold faction. I'd like to see that.
I think more than anything, I think I would love to see a human faction that does that.
Yes, that would make a lot of sense.
Because then you can have just humans everywhere. Humans of Gur, humans of here, and I mean all those things. Are like representative of those grand alliances. That'd be legit. Okay, so that's the shortest news ever. Let's move into listener questions here, which I'll pull up.
Sweet.
And so answer as best you can. I'll try to filter out any weird ones here.
If they're what if questions, I'll answer them.
Okay.
I just think they're weird.
Okay, first one from Sandy McDonald. Do you think there's any way a Stormcast could stop his soul from being transported back to Azir when he or she dies if they didn't wish to get reforged, for instance? I highly recommend, without spoilers, the book Soul Wars, as it deals with a possible Stormcast that is in that same position. Would you concur? You listen to the book, right?
I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I do, and I never realized until people started pointing out on me that nobody asked to become a Stormcast.
Exactly.
Kind of like, what if you didn't want to? What if it's like, and you're stuck in this kind of repeating cycle that you're told is endless, and you're told that you're immortal, but you lose a piece of yourself every time. What if you just want this sweet embrace of oblivion?
Yeah.
No, I got to come back and fight. Like, I've been fighting for 200, 300 years, or it's been like 200 years, I think. You're the Lord Master. How long has it been?
As far as I know, we're not quite sure. Like, I don't think there's a definite timestamp.
I know it's been over 100 years.
Yes, it has.
So I don't know how long. Anybody in the chat know how long it's been since the gates of Azir opened?
This is your time to show me up.
Yeah.
Accept my mantle as Lore Master.
Nope, nobody answered.
I would say yes, asterisk. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Okay, next question. Kenzie McKeever. After watching the ultra comprehensive video on Shaman, I'm wondering a fair amount about conversions. If you swap out something like a weapon, in the case of a free guild handgun, two Skitarii carbines, which is a kit bash that I talked about that Duncan from Warhammer said.
Was it on the really interesting podcast they have?
Yeah, exactly. Fascinating stuff. How would you handle the rules? I've begun to dabble with kit bashing as well, and I'm wondering about what you typically do with models you pilfer bits from. Well, I think for most kit bashes, I don't actually let what the model is dictate the rules. So, like, even if I give a super cool looking AdMech steam gun to a Free Guild handgunner, I just play it like it's a handgunner.
Yeah.
The kit bash there is there for me specifically for aesthetics.
Yes. You just, unless you're playing like a home game where you can do a lot of house rules, the rules are on the card, and just you want, like, I want my, were they from Chamon? And so there's a lot of higher technology. So hey, these guys look like they have steampunk, 40K rifles, and I think is a great idea. Yeah,
and that's the thing is, it's when it comes to conversions, most of the time it's just for aesthetics, unless you kind of build it into a campaign, which, like Jack said, it just requires everyone to be in accord. You know what I mean? If you build a small unit that has super special guns and is like the A team, as long as you run it past your friends, that's cool. Like give them +2 range or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, and if they agree with it, don't force it on them.
Yeah.
I really want this thing to do, be like one of those. Say frost horns, no, thunder tusks. I want it to do 2 of these, 6 mortal wounds. It's like, nah, you can go home with that.
I just want this unit to be broken. Okay, next one. So Ablin asks details. Are you familiar with Seraphon a lot, Jack?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So
is this from my brother?
No, it's probably not. Ablin asks, in the Thunderquake Star Host for Seraphon, it says you have to take 1 Troglodyte or Engine of the Gods, as well as 2 units chosen in any combination of the following: Stegodon and Bastillodon. My question is, does Engine of the Gods count as a Stegodon as well?
No.
Okay. That answers that. I don't have the book in front of me to be able to verify, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. What you can do is look at the bottom. I think, isn't that a keyword type thing? Like at the bottom, it would say Stegodon or whatever it is. Yeah.
I said that really confidently, so it might be I'm leaving that might be wrong. But I think the Engine of the Gods is in the Gods. The Stegodon is a Stegodon. I said it super confident.
You ever seen Seinfeld? Like the lawyer at the end, he's like, the bystander is just a bystander. Stegodon is just a Stegodon. just keep repeating factual statements. Okay. You sounded confident enough for me. Let's see. So, Blank asks, can I make a video about the Legion of Asgore? I'd love to. I'm working on that.
It looks like that's correct in the chat. They confirmed that I was right.
Cool. Well, thanks, chat. Oscar asks, in your video about trading armies, you said that there were 2 armies you regretted getting rid of. One of them was the Orcs, but what is the other one, and why do you regret losing it? That one is my Dark Eldar for 40K. I sold that one off because I lost my job and the company shut down, and I was out of work for 2 months. And I enjoyed gaming as an escape from my worldly woes, but needed to pay a phone bill. So I had to sell it off before I was ready to. And that is the other one. Let's see. Glenn Jackson. What is a good way of finding out battalion war scrolls for different factions without buying all the various battle tomes? What was it? 4D Chan, something like that?
Well, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. How do you learn about battalions before you buy the battle tome?
Oh, that's to do that like without buying the books, I guess. You can just go to your local game store, and I'm sure it's not a library, but if you want to see what a faction does, you can check it out. But I just would do that.
Yeah, I would say do that, and also like I said, if you type in any faction, so for example at Ironjawz, if you type in Ironjawz tactics into Google, there's like a 1D4 Chan post, and it's actually, many of those are pretty well regulated, and they list off what's required, and you have to kind of filter through people's opinions of it, but information is there. So
I'm sure if you just Google it, you can find it like the top thing. So there's just Google.
Pretty much, yeah. As far as like finding new and inventive ways to do it, that's kind of on your own. Let's see. Lito says, first off, love your vids. Thank you. Just watched the one on Hallowed Knights. Need some clarification on the use of the sacrosanct chamber of this particular host. You touched on the incongruity of having chaos carrying zealots with zealot priests who need to purify. So in terms of lore, can I include sequitors and paladins with my Hallowed Knights? Yeah. All chambers, all storm hosts have access to all chambers, theoretically, unless you specifically write it into your lore that they don't.
Yes.
So you absolutely can. And understand when they give lore about storm hosts, like for example, like Hallowed Knights, just perfect example you just touched on. They're not describing every literal single one of these characters. It's just kind of a framework because kind of like when they describe the realms, right? They might say like this part of it actually is super hot and nasty, and it doesn't mean the entire surface of the universe is
lava.
Yeah, and so you can have your Hallowed Knights that don't have weird corruption and zealotry. You can have them be whatever you want, noble and pure and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If that rings your bell. So, next one is Ben. I was wondering about an Ironjaw's army with some Beast Claw Raiders, Stonehorn, and some Mournfangs. I read in the lore that Beast Claws will bow to the whim of Gordrak. Not sure if that makes it for a legal army, but I like the look of it and the playstyle it could offer. Your thoughts?
I know that there is a War Scroll battalion in the Beast Claw Raider book that mixes Gore Gruntas in with the Beast Claws. And I know you can just take a Destruction army and you can mix it all in. And I believe it says on Gordrak's War Scroll that his command ability works on all Destruction models.
It does, yeah.
Yes.
He has a once a game command ability, which on one hand it kind of stinks as once a game, but it works for literally anyone in his Grand Alliance, which is, I think he's one of the few who can do that, right? Can't think of.
Yes. I can't think of anything that does it either.
Yeah, which is super legit.
I'm excited for some more Destruction. They need, not saying they need, but it's their turn.
Yep, I would agree.
And we were like, we have a Facebook group, Rerolling Ones. If anybody wants to join, go send us an invite, even if it's a fake account, we'll let you in. But like the discussion was was it Warhammer Fest over the weekend? Like what we're gonna see. And everybody was saying Gratz, or at least Brent was, and a few other people. And everybody named Brent. And I realized how spoiled we are as Age of Sigmar players and fans and stuff, because I think we just got two things: the Endless Spell and Shadespire, if you can count that as Age of Sigmar. I do, and just realizing like, oh, where's our stuff? We just had how many months of just straight Age of Sigmar stuff that we had? We got like 2 new armies, a new edition, and I'm like, yeah, it's their turn. Even though I'm not into kill team, people are, so I can't just be selfish and like spoiled, which I was. I was like, oh, that's it, 2 things. This is BS.
No, I get that. It's hard because like you get excited, especially when they get you into that rhythm of like every week there's something cool, and then it's just like, okay, we're gonna give your wallets a break, and you're like, but wait. Party's just getting started.
That's what when you bought your Moon Clan army, I was like, "Ooh, just wait! No, don't get one yet. They're going to get new models." I think somebody said Archeon does. I don't know if they were referring to his command ability, if it affects all chaos. But
oh yeah, I guess it does because it isn't. I don't think it triggers specifically on their command on being chaos, but it's every person with a command ability or whatever like that. That's true. That's a good point. So yes, it does de facto do that.
AD.K. Thank you. All right, sorry, next question.
Let's see here. Yes, that one, Destruction Army all the way. Last question is from Kenzie again. One of my biggest fears has been locking myself into a color scheme for one force. So with my Stormcast, I've tried to find out a way for units in different chambers to have different color schemes while still being in the same Stormhost. Tell me what you think. Do you think it'd make sense for the different chambers of a Stormhost to be stationed in a specific realm? and their armor to reflect it. For instance, a Vanguard chamber in Shyish having dark and silver as opposed to the rest of the army.
My whole thing with painting is, do you want it to be that way?
Yeah.
If you want your army to have each, there's nothing saying that they can't. And if you like it and somebody has a problem, that's their problem. Like, totally. I think do whatever makes you feel good, if it's illegal. But yeah, paint whatever you want to paint, as long as you're having fun and enjoying the hobby. If in your universe of Age of Sigmar, each model can be different. It may be difficult to tell them apart or whatever. Which unit is which? Totally. But yeah, man, do what you want.
And kind of piggybacking that, because you're absolutely right. I've seen pink beast claws before, and they look legit. But on top of that, when a a group of Stormcast can be deployed to a different theater of war for a very long time. For example, like in Soul Wars, we learned that there's been some, I think it was Hammers of Sigmar that have been sitting out in this little town for forever, and so they have their own stories and their own heraldry and that kind of stuff, and so they would absolutely look a little bit different than the rest. But you still, just personally, probably for cohesion of visual stuff, want to have them look similar. So I would say we'll take Hammers of Sigmar because I think it's probably the easiest example of the guys in gold.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your secondary color is, I think for them it's gold and blue, right? If you just paint them however you want, use different tones of gold, maybe darker for Shyish, give it a null oil wash. But if you keep that same blue, that secondary color, it looks really good. It ties it together,
mm-hmm.
and keeps it fairly uniform. And so I would just, I absolutely agree that you can just paint them however you want. But in addition, it does make sense that they would have slight variations in their color scheme. I mean, in their heraldry and all that kind of stuff, because they're going different places and they're experiencing different things, and they have different things to brag about, which is what all that heraldry and crap is just bragging about what you did.
Oh, I got a question that was sent to me.
Okay.
Jack Ballard from Seattle, Washington. He wants to know if you think Stormcast actually change armor, or do they keep the same armor the whole time?
Are you asking that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they seem to die and then are given an entire new body, reforged from lightning. So I'd imagine every time they die, they change clothes.
Yeah, but what if you're awesome and you've never died, and so you've been here since day one? You're so skilled at combat, and you just haven't died. Do you die of old age, or do you I need new armor because these one have a lot of Danes and whatever? Or I'm an adjudicator, but man, I really want to be a sequitur. You think you can change?
You can get promoted. That's actually a really good question. I don't really know. We haven't seen it happen, so I can't give you the strongest answer. I'm not as confident as you were in the Seraphon thing. For example, we know that to become a Vanguard hunter,
mm-hmm.
most of those are drawn from warriors who, where they were liberators, got killed, and then they were reforged, and someone was like, hey, they have skill, we'll make them a hunter. But they still died before they changed their clothes, basically.
Gotcha.
So that's about the closest thing I can think of. I'd like to see that. I mean, I don't know what a Stormcast out of his armor would be like.
I used to think they're all made out of energy. Somebody wants to ask just ask the question, Luke. Trying to pay attention to the chat.
No, go for it, man.
Kinsey says, "Ooh, I bet Stormcast could change based on aptitudes towards certain things." Yeah.
I mean, they have to be very reactive to their environment, I would imagine.
Yeah, because I know their whole life is war now, but do they learn stuff? Is it war 24 hours a day, or do they have all right, I get to ship back to Azir for some R&R or something like that? Or is it just, dude, you're fighting, that's your life, much is what is it? Much is asked to, much is given. I forget what thing.
Yeah. Much is demanded of whom much has been given.
Yeah, but do you get to do they use the bathroom?
You know, we should just have Battletome bathroom and just have like rules for the bathrooms in every realm.
Like this is like I don't want to get into the Soul Wars thing, but there was a character.
Yeah.
And like her arc was really interesting. Like, yeah, what if you come back and like, you know, you're you, but you're not really you anymore.
Really?
Like, say you have like a great grandkid now. Is there like a connection there? That's weird.
Yeah. I mean, assuming you recognize him, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Have they asked the question yet? Or is that your question?
No. Let me see if they asked the question. Oh, with all the Kill Team news, and stuff, do you reckon any revamps will come to AOS skirmish games? COS, it's real cause it's real fun, but Kill Team feels way more refined. I hope so, Luke.
Yeah.
Because I was so excited for skirmish because right when skirmish came out, I just had a ton of gray models, and I was like, oh, this is going to be how I'm going to paint. And then I was just very disappointed in the game. It's like there are a lot of there's easy ways to kill your opponent. Like for instance, if you have a Knight Azeros, their little thing is a 8-inch range. Everything takes D3 mortal wounds. You have one of those in your list, and you get close, and you're killing off like a ton of somebody's army.
Yep. Yeah, it didn't work for me, and I think it's because they wanted to have too many. Like everyone can play skirmish, but like I think what's more successful is looking at what they're doing with Kill Team now, where it's like no, these units can be used in Kill Team. No demons. You know what I mean? Like they reeled it in a little bit. And I think that's actually better.
Yeah. Joel says that Gardas took his armor off and put it back on in the Play Garden story. So.
Oh yeah, right on. That's true.
Sweet. Thank you, Joel.
Okay. So noted. They can undress. This is great. Okay, let's see. So that is it for questions. Thank you, everyone. There is a link, hopefully in the description down below, but if not, I'll add it later to ask questions for next time. So moving into tonight's main topic, Jack, you wanted to talk about using some models that are less than optimal.
Yeah. That's one of my key things was I've mentioned earlier is there seems to be a lot of like, either judgment or people question you like, why would you take that if it's not optimal? And like I'm a big fan of play the way you want to play. And I believe like Vince on his show, they did a whole episode about garage gaming. I guess that's my preferred way to play is just even if your opponent has a army, for instance, a Skaven army or something where it doesn't have a battle tome, I'm not going to bring the most devastation on it because I don't play to win. I play to play. Yeah. The interaction, unless it's my brother, then it's pretty cutthroat. It's pretty cutthroat. It's interesting how that happens. But like I'm really into just the camaraderie of the community we're getting maybe just because there's not a huge competitive scene up here, but it's starting to grow. We're having tournaments. A couple times a month, looks like, or once every month.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the whole, I'm not into it seems like there is, people will insult you if you don't play the way they think you should play. And it goes both ways. There's a lot of judgment on the casual players to the competitive players and back and forth. And I think, that doesn't need to happen. If you just play the way that you enjoy to play and don't feel the need to say another way to play is garbage, because that's one thing I heard a lot was, why would you take that? It's garbage. Oh, this is garbage. This is trash. And it's like, no, you can say it's just not, the optimal unit to take, but there's no need to, I believe, just because I think it's just insulting to a player who enjoys that stuff.
Totally. Yeah, I notice this a lot. Like, I think sometimes we forget that someone else enjoying something does not in any way steal joy from me. So like you enjoying suboptimal lists does not make all of like, for example, you're playing a lot of Khorne right now. It doesn't make Khorne look bad if you play what you want to play. Yeah. It doesn't somehow like diminish what anyone else is trying to do. And so I don't know. I'm not sure if that's kind of the problem is like we get stuck in this mindset where like I know this faction can be great, and so I need everyone to also be great at playing it, so that I can tell myself that it's great. I'm not sure if that's it. Have you guys experienced a lot of that on the channel, as far as like people critiquing what kind of things you bring?
Yeah. They're especially when the path to glory. I'm trying to explain to people, what's path to glory? I didn't have a choice. If it was up to me, I would take a blood secretor.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't have lost all the games, but it's like, that's why it's one of my favorite ways to play, because it's just random. I like rolling for it, and like, I would love to have Gore Pilgrims. I would love to have something, but it's a roll of the dice whether I get the requirements for the War Scroll Battalion. And so, I'm glad we got through it, and I'd eventually like to do a season 2 at some point. Maybe if they re-release the book, like another Path to Glory book, or maybe if we all pick armies that have new books with their own Path to Glory in it. But for instance, there's a scenario that Seraphon can just win.
Yeah.
Just get your general to the edge of the battlefield, and he can just space and times himself right away. And so it's like, clearly it's like, it's not optimized. Maybe you can house rule some things, like you can't do that. But it's like, it's my favorite way to play, just because I had a lot of experience of, playing people, and it wasn't fair. Like me beating people and making them quit Age of Sigmar. Like, I didn't want to do that. I got a good deal out of it, but I didn't want to do it. And and so that's why I was into that way of playing. But yes, we've gotten comments going back to your original question. Why did you take that? A lot of it is I took it because it's painted, and we only have painted stuff on the channel. So I wouldn't have took it.
That is totally fair. Yeah, I mean, it's like a player by player thing. Like, for example, like if someone says to me like, "Hey Doug, just so you know, Gorguntas, they're not bad. You should try them." I'm like, oh, totally. I'm going to try that, because I personally don't have that sense of like what is effective and what is not. Like, I kind of just, I'm not a bad player, I don't think. But I don't perceive those kinds of advantages, and some people do. And so I'm appreciative. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. It's cool. But to have someone say like, why didn't you take blank? It's like, well, I take whatever I want.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things I want to do on the channel, is take some of the stuff that you don't see all the time. Like some of the battalions you don't really see, because we all know that Gore Fist is good.
Right.
But what about like the fish you're going to bring? What is it? Iron Fist? Is what that's what you're building, right? You're building Iron Fist. I've never seen that, and I'd like to see it. I've seen Gore Fist a lot, but I'd like to see Iron Fist or Weird Fist or Brute Fist. Just some stuff I want to see.
I'm considering the Brute Fist. It seems to have some weird limitations. It doesn't seem like the most effective thing, but it seems like fun just to have a bunch of brutes. No, I completely understand. What I also find though is like, just speaking practically, like your guys' channel has just blown up. Like you guys got to 3K so much faster than I did.
I know, because we're riding them coattails, bro.
I honestly think it's because the entertainment factor is just there for people who like, taking a bunch of the strongest battalions. Like it's fun to watch if you're into the tournament thing. It's a very specific group of people. But I think the entertainment value is much higher on like, I've never seen free people or devoted of Sigmar fight, and like, sure enough, we have a guy Dylan who has a bunch of them. Like, people are curious and interested, and they want to see what it does, and see that we're having fun doing it. And like, that's as much as like press and stuff as tournaments and those kinds of lists get. The entertainment factor, I think, always sways in the favor of like, this is stuff that you could actually play with your friends and not hate. They won't hate you. Like, and you see us laughing because we're having fun.
Yeah. For instance, like I know we've gotten some requests. We get Seraphon all the time, and my brother is a slower painter than Brent, so hopefully he'll get on the channel at some point. But people have asked for like a Swift Hawk Agent army and stuff like that, which I'd really like to see. It's one of those underdog lists, one of those things you're not going to see a lot of, which I'm a huge fan of. Like I play Slaanesh, which Slaanesh are hopefully getting a new army soon, but I don't think you see a lot of it out there online, which, I play it because it's my my favorite of the 4 Chaos Gods. And I honestly, when I got named Age of Sigmar, you know, there was no news about Slaanesh at all.
Yeah.
And I figured it was going in the way of Bretonia or Tomb Kings. It's just like, it's not a 2018 friendly army, or the older one isn't. You know, they've gotten rid of some of the aspects where you're like, all right, I'm not going to let my 13-year-old or 12-year-old son or daughter play this because, you know, she has her, she's exposed, I guess. Yep. Or, you know, and so, but I'm glad it looks like it's coming back. You know, Slaanesh has been found between Olgu and Hish. So.
Totally. And that's the thing is, like, I see a lot of channels. Like, I've heard Vince talk about playing Slaanesh, but I haven't seen it. And, like, there's just something cool about seeing something that you're into on the YouTubes. And so isn't one of the Slaanesh videos like one of you guys is most popular?
Yes. Like, it was Slaanesh vs. Iron Jaws. It was also the first game for AOS 2.0, so of course you're going to get a lot of traction. But
that's true.
Speaking of, like, it's the channel, we mentioned the channel earlier about why it's blowing up so fast. And I really, I think we found our niche about, you know, doing a comedy skit before and then playing a game where we're having fun. Like, there's like a game in the can that it just wasn't a fun game. It was between me and Dylan, who's kind of like, he's part of the channel, but he's not one of the, like, the original 3, but he's, you know, you've seen him in some of the intros and stuff. But I don't know if me and him are just not, like, you know, we don't know each other that well. And so me and him alone, it's not as, like, it's not bad, but the chemistry isn't there. And so it was really one-sided. So I was like, you know what? We're not going to show this to people because I think we set a standard. And it's fun. And also, like, I've been doing comedy for 6 years now, like stand-up. And it scratches that itch, like being creative and making people laugh and getting a reaction. You know, it's not as fast as, you know, being on stage telling jokes. But it's still nice getting that, you know, it's like creating an idea I've never done it with a group of people before, but coming up with the idea. For instance, the one where you catch me watching Kitetsu. Yeah. It's something I thought of, you know, like that would be really funny. And it's weird because I can't show people because they don't get the joke.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like, I tell people, this is really funny, even though, because I'd never told people I played Warhammer. You see, I'm going to bring Brace into it, but growing up in a Black community, like, playing Warhammer is just something you did. Like, me and my brother are the only people, Black people, who play Warhammer that I know. Like, and so, like, I just didn't talk about it. I don't tell people that I play Warhammer. And but now I'm like, with the channel, I'm like, yeah, this is what I do in my spare time. I have all these models at my house, and it's interesting. And thank you for not having me on just to talk about diversity. I was like,
our next topic.
Oh man.
Just to show you that 2 Plus Tough is an open-minded channel. That would be quite the double header if I had Jess on last time to talk about women in wargaming and then Jack on top.
It's one of those things I'm like, hey man, it's not that, it's never been super important to me. But I've never, like, a thing I'll bring up, like, I've never thought Warhammer wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel represented. You know why? Because you can paint guys however you want. See? Right there.
Boom.
Right there. You can paint them however you want. I have this guy. I have that guy. I tried to paint some Asian guys, but they just look jaundiced. So.
It's a fine line.
This alabaster skin there. But you know what's messed up? I have a lot of my blood reavers are Black, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I want a diverse army. I want, you know, my army super integrated. And so I was I was like, okay, I'm gonna paint this hero white, and I painted the what's the guy with the whip?
The blood. Not Stoker.
Bloodstoker. I painted the Bloodstoker white, and I'm like, oh man, that's messed up. I have this white dude whipping all my Black blood reavers. I did not want that to happen. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Yeah, I was like, oops, my fault.
That's the greatest thing ever. When you said that, I just kind of like put my phone down for a second and think about that for a little bit.
Like, it wasn't intentional. Oh man. I really like the Citadel paint app, side note, because it really, if you have trouble painting like I do, the Citadel paint app is wonderful.
Yeah, man.
It's like a step by step. Okay, this is the next color I need.
Well, right now it's saving my bacon with the blue.
Brass scorpion.
So kind of digging into. Do you have specific units that you like that are, I don't know, what you see in the channel or something like that that like stand out to you as people say don't take that, but you're just like, yeah.
Well, besides Blood Reavers are one of them.
Okay.
Like back in first edition, people would say don't take Star Soul maces.
What?
Yes, because like if you do the math, they're not as good on retributors or something. And I remember Mark, we went to a game and this guy was just like so offended that Mark had Star Soul maces in his retributor. And I was like, why would you take that? Why would you take those? And it's just, and Mark was just like, because I like them. But he also, Mark had a magnetized, but it's like, why do you, just the outrage he had about why would you take those?
I have never heard that story.
It was when we went to one of those huge, it was like a Games Workshop store. It's like a take whatever you want kind of game, like a mega game.
Okay.
And I don't think I'll ever do that again. That was fun, but man, I don't know about, especially at somebody who used to hide playing Warhammer, like public WAs, doing a huge WA in public. I super cringe. I'm like, oh, because man, I hide Warhammer like a hot chick with a cold sore. I cover it up, man. Nobody knows about my Warhammer game except for now with the channel. I actually send links. They don't get the jokes that I make, but it's fun.
They know they're funny.
Yes, I'm like, this is funny. I'm confident.
That's awesome. No, I know your disdain for public WAS, so I mean, I'm not going to use it a lot, but at some point I'm going to get you.
No, don't make me WA in public.
Exactly. That is hilarious. Oh, I can't fathom someone saying free mortal wounds is a bad idea, but okay.
Maybe the math works out or something, but I'm not sure. As far as Math Hammer goes, I can see discriminators being better off. Oh, decimator, sorry, being better off without the mace. Okay, but the retributors and protectors probably want to bring it. Okay, thank you, old witch doctor.
Oh, that guy, he comments great stuff all the time. I trust that guy. Never spoke one-on-one really, but trust him explicitly.
This is not gonna there's people probably around the world listening to this, but man, the weather is scary. It's like Seattle is actually, because there is smoke from Canada and like the air pollution is like bad. And I'm glad I'm on vacation so I don't have to work in this.
Yeah, so if Canada could stop burning because it's really inconvenient.
Yeah, this is selfish Canadians.
Exactly. No, it's actually been super, super rough. I have been trying to lose weight and work out more, and like if I can't breathe when I'm walking, I can't breathe when I'm exercising. Just like I get lightheaded. That's how bad it is. So I'm like,
oh man, if you ever want to work out, hit me up. I need to get back in the gym as well.
Yeah, but I think your version of working out is different than my version, where like I just take the stairs at your apartment.
It sucks. Like my jiu-jitsu instructor, he quit, and so there's nobody to teach at my gym. And so it's like, oh, fun. I gotta
do it. Become the master.
Soft. Yeah, we gotta embrace my inner Nurgle. Screw it. Yeah, but side note, health is important.
It is totally. Do you have anything else you wanted to add on as far as like talking about
models that aren't as good, but are good to you? For me, I don't know. I don't have much more example. I just wanted to get it out there. Like, just it's okay to take what you like, and don't feel like it's just because somebody says it's garbage. Just embrace your inner garbage then. All I gotta say about it, because I just saw it a lot recently. I remember it was in a chat. I don't know the person's name, and it was just chatting. I was talking about how many Blood Reavers I had, and it was someone replied, I have 200 and something Blood Reavers, because my whole goal once was to do a Dark Feast army.
Yeah,
because you can get your Blood Reavers up to like 5 attacks for the base guy, and I just thought that was really cool. Rolling all these dice, and somebody replied like, I say, oh, I have 220 Blood Reavers, and so like someone replied something snarky like, oh, like said no like competitive player ever, or something like that. I'm like, screw you, dude. Like it's, I guess, I just, and that was my whole, like the whole impotence of all this. Like, hey man, don't worry about, I can play how I want to play, and just don't put people down, I guess, for what they like.
I think that's huge. I mean, I try when
I put them down because they look funny, just not because they like Warhammer stuff.
Exactly. I frequently, like, through emails or messages, people will be like, hey, can you check out this list? And I've since become very conscious of like making people feel however for taking specific things. And so instead of asking like, why would you take blank? It's more like, what do you see that unit doing? Because at that point they can tell me, oh, just take it because it's cool. It's like, okay, well, that's cool. Like that's set some realistic expectations then.
Do you have a unit you like that is not that great? I know for a while you were really trying to make Marauders really good, which they're actually, I got respect for Marauders now.
Yeah, I mean they're okay. I mean they were much better when you could take the Ever Chosen battalions.
Yes.
I guess Chaos Sorcerer Lord and a Manicore.
Oh yeah, the Justicar.
You have never had a problem with, but
What do you mean? You can't roll 11s?
Oh my gosh. So y'all should go watch the last like rerolling ones battle report. I struggle mightily to get his stupid Winds of Chaos spell off. Casting value 8. Happened to Jack 3 times. You rolled 3 different 11s. And I can't get the darn thing off once. It was just infuriating to watch him succeed.
Well, I'm watching this chat. Let's ask the chat. Are there any units that you guys love that are either just bad or just like they're better versions of it? I know, like are the Sequators the new Judicators? Or the new versions that are the Liberators? The new things where they have the double maces, they're just better than Liberators.
Basically, yeah.
Yes. Someone said Skin Wolves. I'm not sure if they were talking about that. Yeah, Skin Wolves.
Yeah, Skin Wolves. Skin Wolves are in a weird place.
Source Knights, my brother doesn't like them, but yeah, I don't know if they're not good or what, but I know they have a 2-up armor, which I don't understand.
So, like the actual cavalry guys?
Yeah, like the Source Knights. I know if you can take. I mean, they're fast and they have the potential to do mortal wounds, but you have to do like a lot of stuff has to happen. Like, the sun has to be an equinox or whatever. But, like, you can get mortal wounds out of them. And I know Seraphon, that's one of the troubles they have is dealing mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Storm Vermin are good. Like legit, I love Storm Vermin, Storm Fiends. And I've never played against Rattling Cannons, but I know I love Storm Vermin and Storm Fiend. They're, especially if they're on the little bases that they're supposed to be on, you can get a lot in combat.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it funny that there are units that like one person says are terrible, and then another guy in another meta is like,
yeah, take
that unit wrecks face over here. And it's just funny because I mean, like you're talking about Blood Reavers not being suboptimal. What did people use for Khorne Bloodbound rather than Blood Reavers?
Bloodletters.
Okay. I was trying to think. I was like, well, yeah, of course you want blood points. So of course you take Blood Reavers, but
yeah. Now I think in second edition with the summoning stuff, I love Blood Reavers because that is a unit. I take them in the minimum size.
Yep.
Blood tide point, and I realize you don't get infinity blood tide points. You only get 8, but I'll make sure I won't do that again. But I love like now all my Blood Reavers. If I have all those in army, that's a lot of blood tide points.
Yeah, dude.
So one day, my Dark Feast is gonna come.
It's gonna be legit. I think when we were talking about a game of just like you just throwing a bajillion Blood Reavers at us, everyone else just trying to survive waves of them.
Oh yeah. That would be fun. Like just like a sort of narrative game, like survive the Blood Reaver onslaught. Yeah, I like little games like that. Right now, we're kind of, I believe the goal for the channel is with this slow grow campaign that people can be a part of. Either after it's over, doing Firestorm is one of the ideas we're having.
Yeah.
Or just something where, or keeping score where we have a leaderboard where it's not just we're playing each other to play and have fun. but we're gonna have like, okay, season 1, the winner gets a trophy or something like that, something different, where we can actually, the games mean something, not just, hey, this is us playing, and here's a funny sketch.
Totally. Yeah, I'm down. I'd love to do the Firestorm because I want to see how that plays with second.
Yes, me too. Where would you play your Iron Jaws?
Oh yeah.
That's so cool. We just got to get Brent motivated for his. I think he has Ideneth, or he might be able to play like either the Fire Slayer army or whatever.
I don't know, man. It depends on if that bull is for Brayherd because he has a bunch of those guys too.
True. But I'd love to get it going before the bull comes out.
That's right. Did they say when it comes out? I think they said it's a couple months, right?
Yeah, it's. Oh, I don't know when it's coming out.
Okay.
Anybody in the chat know? When the shit bull is coming out?
But yeah, I'm trying to think of any other units like that for me. Definitely Chaos Source with a Mana Core, and then I want the Dark Oath War Queen to be great, but I really don't think that's going to happen until she gets her own book.
Yes, it's a beautiful model.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a unit that is you would take even just for the model.
Yeah.
That's another reason to think.
Yeah, I want to use her as a Chaos Lord every once in a while.
Yeah, that'd be. It's just because it's a beautiful model, and I don't care if it's not the best thing to take. It's amazing looking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you took it in a game versus Slanesh.
Yeah, I played it a few times. Problem is, she's a really easy blood type point if I ever play you, so you probably haven't seen it a whole lot.
That's why I like taking the like Garrick's Reavers, and stuff like that, because it's 60 points, and it's a blood type point right there. Or I was toying with the idea of taking some Spawn, and that's 50 points for a blood type point if I do like blood sacrifice on it or something like that. But
yeah, and you know what? Everyone fears the Spawn because they could do a whole lot. They probably won't, but they could. And that's the problem.
Was it a game where you on the channel where was it a Spawn got to go in finally and did nothing?
Yeah, so that was my introduction to second edition. I was like, this is it. I finally don't have to pay for this Spawn. And I was like, everybody, I'm so pumped. And then he did nothing and died immediately. And I was so devastated by that.
Someone said November for the spell.
Okay.
That's what they think.
Yeah, that kind of lines up with the faint rumors of like...
Because October they put Orcs or October. I wonder if any fantasy Orcs will come out, or do you think that's just 40K? It would be Orctober if it was Orcs for fantasy. So true.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of 40K Orcs. I think that's going to be definitely a time where AOS takes a back seat, and that's fine because Orcs haven't been updated in like 20 years.
For sure. Yeah, Orcs it's still the same Orcs from when I played Age of Sigmar, not Age of Sigmar, Fantasy.
Yep.
The late 90s, early 2000s. So that's not good.
Yeah,
here's something that either I was thinking about doing for the channel or somebody should do. Maybe this is already out there. If somebody could just do maybe like a timeline of models, like for instance, I have these guys. I forget what they're called. Corpse something.
Crypt Ghouls or whatever.
Yeah, Crypt Ghoul. And so when I got in the game, I thought, oh, these are for Age of Sigmar. But no, they actually were made back in Fantasy. And so if there's just like a timeline where like, oh, I didn't know Fire Slayers initially were a purely Age of Sigmar army. I thought, oh, maybe these are for when I first got in the game. I was like, oh, these must have been for Slayers before they switched over. And just some stuff where like, oh, this would be nice to know. Like, oh, the Ard Boys used to be Black Orcs, and now they're Ard Boys. But the Brutes are Brutes for Iron Jaws. They're specifically made for 40K. Just when models are from or whatever.
Okay, cool. A little time machine.
Yeah, a little time. Like, are these Bloodletters for Age of Sigmar, or do they come out? What edition do these Bloodletters come out here? If anybody in the chat knows. When do they come out? I don't know. When I bought them, they were in a. Actually, I bought them off eBay, but I see them in boxes for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, I know a lot of the cast stuff got re-released because, like, when Archeon came out, they released a lot of like Slaves to Darkness got a nice reboxing. So it kind of blurs that line of like I don't actually know. Like I don't remember a time where that wasn't the blood letter model. How about that?
Blood letters are from 7th. Thank you very much. Or 6th. Either or.
Immediately retracted.
6th edition. Thank you, Murak Wolf. Yeah, or like I didn't know Archeon was for Age of Sigmar. I thought, oh, this must have been one of the end times model because I saw that Nagash was for the end times.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's something like as a new player getting into it, I was like, oh, especially when you like you spent so much time away and then coming back, you're like, and it's also weird like being grown and having your own money to buy stuff. That's actually nice.
Yeah. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jack, is there anything else you wanted to talk about tonight?
Let's see. How do you come up with videos? And do you ever feel like you're forced to come up with something like I don't have anything, but I have to produce a video because I have patrons, I have a following and they need their videos. And you ever like I just don't feel like doing it?
Okay, let me tell you that a few ways. So, how do I come up with them? I go through my comments. Like I'm very active in my comments on videos. Like I try. My policy is to try to make sure everyone's responded to, and from those, I take a screenshot and just I have literally a giant bucket of photos where I just like these are just ideas. It's just like brainstorm, and I sift through them. And you know, if people talk a lot about XYZ, I'll do a video on it. So it's kind of my inspiration. Like I really do thrive on people commenting and telling me what they want to see.
Okay.
In addition to that, as far as like, is there times where I just kind of get tired? Yeah, absolutely. But what I've learned in my professional life that has kind of brought over to this is my side gig, my side hustle, is the idea of like, burnout and needing a break doesn't just spontaneously happen. It builds over time. And if it's something builds over time, you can plan for it. You know your car is going to need an oil change. So you might as well budget an oil change. And so what I do is I budget my time to other things. So like stuff that's just non-Warhammer at all. Like I have YouTube channels that I'm subscribed to for like hobby RC cars or film theories and those kinds of things to give my brain a break. So that when I come back to this, it's refreshed. My favorite video game series of all time is Fallout. So I've been playing Fallout 4 quite a bit, doing Far Harbor right now, the expansion. So yeah, I mean, if you just assume that you're going to get tired and like make efforts to be like, hey, when this starts to happen, take a break, go step away. I think maybe on 1 or 2 occasions I've done a video where I really just wasn't in the mood for it. But even on those times where like the minute I start talking about things that I enjoy and have fun with, it goes away.
Okay. How is it the introducing your wife and getting her into the hobby? Has that progressed anything, or is it still kind of? I know Iron Jaws have kind of taken place of. I believe you're going to do Night Hunt with her. Is that still happening?
Yes, it is. So she serves with youth at our church, and so basically immediately after that, she went on that trip, and so she's actually been gone. This last weekend was our first one together, and we just celebrated our anniversary, so we went away. So those kinds of secondary things have been put on pause for.
Gotcha. Congratulations!
Hey, thank you. 7 years. She is wonderful.
Hey, I didn't even make it 2.
So yeah, she's
I blame World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that'll do it. It's called the love ender right there.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I got more questions. Do you still think Flesh Eater Courts is the best army in the game?
Oh, absolutely. Broken as all get out.
Might want to take that video down, bro.
No. You know why I'm not going to do it? Because people still search for it and they still comment, so YouTube keeps cranking it up. It is the closest to spiky bits I'll ever get when it comes to like just saying something that's 100% wrong for clickbait.
Oh man, shots fired.
It's all good. They're self-aware. They've commented about it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, one of their things was like no more double turns, right? And I was like, what? They got rid of double turns. I clicked it, and it had to do with the FAQ to the Engines of the Gods.
Yep.
Where they could double turn if they rolled like 4 6s or whatever.
Yeah, they got
you mother. I was like, man, if you ever do something like this, it's pure, you know. I don't want to get to that point where I even like, I know this is, I don't know if you want to talk about this. There's a shirt coming out. It's really awesome design. You guys need to buy it when Doug releases it. But like when you first started to get into Patreon, because I listen to a lot of podcasts and I listen to a lot of things online, and I was more leaning. I think I was anti-Patreon because I just heard it so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's different from you because I feel like people get to know you. I really like that you show your face in your videos, and you're just a genuine person. And like the same Doug who is on the channel is the same guy I meet in person. And so you've actually built a really good community, and you actually work for them now. And so, so I respect you for that. And because with our channel, it's like there are other battle report channels who just constantly pump their Patreon and constantly be like, hey, you know, buy this, buy that, give it, you know. And I get it, man. Like it's not easy. You know, I've spent a lot of money in this hobby, but it's because it's my hobby. Like I have friends who golf.
Yeah.
And like when I was doing stand-up comedy hardcore, you know how much money it cost me to drive to gigs, and I get paid $25, but I spent, you know, $15 in gas. And it's just like, you know, I did it because I enjoyed doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and this is eventually, if we can, you know, we get paid through YouTube, but if we can, because we need to get a better camera and a better sound system. And if we have a following, a 10th is like loyal as yours, I think we'll be fine.
Oh, thank you.
That being said, we need motorcycles, so get ready for that.
That's right. Yeah, I want the motorcycle. My patrons are incredible. Thank you all so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know. But that's another thing where it's like, I remember when we had that discussion, I asked our friends group, a non-Facebook Rerolling Ones official group, but just as friends, is like, hey, what do you guys think if I started a Patreon? And you were pretty clear about like, no.
Well, I mean, I admit I was wrong.
No,
I just don't like.
That's the point I'm trying to make. But it's just like
you don't pimp it, or I'm not gonna say pimp it. You don't like harp on it constantly. It's just hey, if you want to join, here's the things you get. Thank you very much. And it's just not like at the point where like I get it, dude.
What is that idea that like you can do those things and not be a tool?
Yeah.
Getting back to our making fun of other YouTube channels, or it's just like you can do those. I mean, nothing evil about Patreon.
Yeah, it's not. It's just it was on me. It's like people who judging me for like having a model. I judged people for their Patreon thing, so I'm guilty of it too.
That's all. I mean,
but I'm right.
Exactly. That doesn't prove my argument. So
yes, that's where I know your wife is awesome. When she was able to say, like, I know there's a lot of half-naked men models, but that doesn't help my algorithm, so I'm just gonna ignore it. I was like, oh, your wife's awesome, dude. Right. But yeah, I think that was a good show, I think.
Yeah. You feel good?
Yeah, I felt confident.
You get some stuff painted?
Yeah. I'm working on these bases, and these guys have been on my shelf for like 2 weeks, not being touched. And so being actually able to paint is nice.
Yeah, dude. It's gonna take me a long time to fix the iron jaws here, the Ard boys. Because in all this time I've gotten, well, that's not true. I guess I have to do them all in a wash with the Jackknife Nightshade. So washed them all, and then I've since been able to fix 3.5 of them. So it's going to take me a bit. I'm probably not going to do all 30 at once. That might make me go insane after all the work that I've already done.
Will we see Jess on Rerolling Ones? Hey, man, she seems awesome. I'd like to have her on. I know Doug's gonna do battle reports too, so we might have to fight for her.
Yeah, well, I'm not. So eventually, I'm gonna do our reports when we move in November, which we're actually looking at places for that now. Okay. We're gonna make a little studio with some cool stuff, but all I have to say, yeah.
Yeah, get those Nighthawk painted, or maybe she can play. We have a ton of studio armies and stuff. Yeah, we'd love to get her on.
Yep. It'll be an easier sell once it's not so hot that we all die in Mark's room.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. Whew. And I dress up for the games. Oh, it's so hot. I'm feeling it, man, especially now. Oh my gosh, we can't have the fans going because it's too loud. Oh. Yeah, like soon we're gonna get sound improvement, better camera, all that stuff's in the works. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it just takes time, and that's one of those things. It's like we were joking about other channels and pimping out Patreon, but it's like if you display value and then like invite people into doing what you're doing, like, people are awesome. And it's not about it's sincerely not about money. It's just like, think this is cool? Yeah, come join me. Okay. And that's my approach. I wish it was the approach of many others, so I don't know. Okay, well, I will not keep you anymore, sir, and all you viewers out there. If you think of any more questions, or if you would like Jack back on, which I certainly do, because you're fun to co-host with.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, give me an email at the link below, and if it's not there, I will fix that momentarily.
Yes, Alex, those are Iron Jaws. I traded him my Iron Jaws for his Fire Slayers.
Yes. I held off on getting Iron Jaws for the longest time because I knew Jack had some, and I knew that Mark had just gotten a whole bunch of painted models, but Mark wants to focus on Bone Splitters from that lot, and Jack didn't mind getting rid of his Iron Jaws, so that was a free army, well, free in our group, that was not available for anyone, so.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
Thanks for the invite. Love to be on any other time. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude. Catch you next time.
All right.